Yeah.
I have not heard.
Just check.
Sign a contract?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to put my password. Oh,
No, that's okay.
I've been going on. Okay, and my password.
And your password, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Password reset, come on, I don't have time. I say we all set our passwords to the same thing. So that when we get lost. Easy peasy.
School board rules. Just say. School board rules.
I know. I didn't know me to say that. Oh, I was gonna make her sit back here. 'Cause I didn't know who that was. Literally, that's what it
You can do
is.
that too.
So can I, that's my purple. And it still kept telling me I was wrong. I know I'm not. I didn't download it. You could tell it. Do it for me. I have 3 options. Look at what I have for you. I know, how are you? I can get it on my phone.
It's a whole different system. Your phone.
Yeah, sure, it's my last one.
Very tall.
Oh, yeah.
I should, and thanks to have you back.
2 weeks later, all my cards.
So you miss Marty. Sitting up here.
So I took it down to
Yeah, no.
service provider, and they said, oh,
Mine are by Great Richmond.
no, mine.
Marty?
You said no, it's going back there.
Yeah, it doesn't start till 6:30, so I'm just gonna leave real
I
quick.
just have to remember how to.
Is it emailing you?
Just like not letting you get in my-
Thanks for your survivor stuff, Amy. I liked it.
Okay, thank you.
It was good.
Mine were because we have from Cindy.
Yes, I told her.
Hey, nice to have you back.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. Done, check. I had trouble. I'll get you the other one. She was just out for the last, she had 2 days and then she got the flu or whatever, so. Send you your password reset to your email. Sorry, that's okay. Take your time. Rosemary, are you excited with the results? Okay.
Definitely, yeah.
Lorinda was a little bit sad that more of the second graders, and there were some were so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
What's that one?
Put that up and down.
We're still celebrating.
Yeah, definitely should.
You need a podium.
Thank you.
They're so relevant.
Awesome. Nicole, do you need a podium?
I can stand there and stand really.
You need a podium? Okay.
Why are you choosing? I'm not gonna.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting. If you're able, would you please stand with me and say the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. All right, item number 4 is adoption of our agenda. If I could have a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Fantastic. In a second?
I'll second.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Take your pick. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next, we have call to the public. Ms. Cheyenne, there you go, call. Did anyone want to speak that did not fill out a sheet? All right, we're gonna just keep on rolling then. Next are our presentations. It's our information and discussion items. First up, we're going to have our special education director, Nicole, come up and
All righty.
talk to us.
So I guess I'll just signal to you. I'll just go like this when it's time.
Got it.
Do you
Okay.
want the podium?
No, I'm good. If y'all don't mind me just standing here. Okay.
Just move up a little bit more so that we'll catch you well. It's on
Okay.
the ceiling. Okay.
So here's our team, myself, Christine Felton, Kristen Gomes. Go ahead. So I'll start with our AIMS program. It's our autism-specific trainings that we've done that has really helped it to develop into the program that it's blooming into. There's always learning that goes, or setbacks, there's adjustments as you're growing any new program, and we are trying really hard to move forward with those. We use ABA and autism-specific strategies and increased data collection. This was my first goal that I had, was to build this program and to really try to improve it. And through trainings and all of these practices, I feel we've met the specific criteria that we had set forth for that. We're not stopping. We're going to keep going and trying to get better and better, but we met that first goal. Increasing state scores. Through that, our goal was to put students into small groups instead of a whole classroom full of students. Kids tend to just push buttons when you do that. So we do specific scripts reminding them that to do their best, that this is going to help their principal and their teacher know how well they did, and then it helps the principal know how well their teacher did. We kind of make it seem like a real investment and to try hard. And then we also use the approach of teaching at grade level and ability level to close those gaps. We're still progressing on this. For the 24 to 25 scores, I literally went through for Del Rio and HMS, and with my admin assistants, we got every score for every student, compared them to the year before. And for third graders going to fourth, language arts was a 65% increase. Fourth to fifth for language arts, 81%. Fifth to sixth, 63%. Sixth to seventh, 94%. Seventh to eighth was 67%. Then for math, third, fourth grade, there was a 92% that showed increase. Fourth to fifth was 96%. Fifth to sixth was 91%, sixth to seventh, 82%, seventh to eighth graders made 100% growth. Now, and to clarify what that really means is, it means they made growth. It does not mean they went from minimally proficient to proficient. They're in special ed for a reason. They have learning disabilities, etc. Some of them, have autism and things, but those kids, that percentage, made positive growth and didn't go backwards. So we're going to keep going in that direction that we've been going, trying to increase these scores. Okay, next one. Cost savings. So we've been working on hiring employees versus contractors to save money. Employees test for ESA and private school testing. It can be very expensive when you use contractors. So we've been trying to use our own employees to do that testing instead. And we have made progress. I do not have the final numbers yet, though, financially, and how much that saved us. I will have that in the future. I just don't have it as of today.
Federal law says we have to do the test for students who are ESA, homeschool, or private.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't get money for that.
So we have had a huge influx of special education students come to Chino Valley. And so I reached out to our neighboring districts to ask what their percentages are for special education in their districts. The state would like us to be between 9 and 11%. Prescott is at 16.7%. Humboldt is at 16%. We are at 23%. So we're pretty high up there right now. We've had our numbers go up with kids enrolling in our schools. Okay. To tell you a little bit about our programs, for those of you who may not be aware, we have, it is the most restrictive going down to the least restrictive. So we have EDP, which is our self-contained classroom for students with emotional disabilities and sometimes psychiatric disorders. And we have self-contained classrooms, which are for centers kids. They're children who may have mild to moderate intellectual disabilities, levels of autism, things like that, brain injuries. Then we have extended resource. Those are for kids who do not fit into centers, but they're not quite high enough for resource. We have an extended resource for them. Then we have resource. And then resource, after that's, most of those classes are their own class. If they're in the middle school or high school, the students go into their class for that hour. That's their resource class. If you're at Del Rio or Territorial, the students are pulled from their gen ed class to go work on specific skills in the resource classroom. And then we have inclusion. That is where a certified special ed teacher goes into the general ed class and assists the students in the classroom. They're not supposed to hover over kids with IEPs. They're supposed to help everybody in the room, but just making sure that those IEP kiddos are definitely, eyes are kept on them. Co-teaching is something that we are building. It has really been targeted at HMS first, and we're doing a lot of co-teaching math, and we are going to be starting it at the high school next year. And what that means is you have a certified general ed teacher and special ed teacher standing at the front of the room, assisting each other in instruction for the students. So while the gen ed teacher is talking with dollar words and, presenting some information, the special ed teacher may break it down into 50-cent, 25-cent words, color coding, graphs, pictures, and they play off of each other so that all students in the room can learn. And I did that for years, and it's an amazing teaching strategy. And I can tell you a lot of the general ed kids benefited from me breaking it down because they also were like, wait, what? So it really is great for everybody. Okay. Our growth with students and IEPs in October 1st, 2024, we had 418. October 1st, 2025, 432. We are currently at 487, and we have more coming. We just haven't gone through all their paperwork yet. So we're going to be pushing probably close to 500 students with IEPs. And to address this, we have a team leader on each campus to assist the teachers, to assist admin, to attend meetings, things like that. Okay. So accomplishments. Accomplishment one, I would say our AIMS program, we're headed in the right direction. We have had Ascend, their behavior analysts, come and present beautiful presentations for our staff. And our teachers and paras have learned a lot from them. RISE. We have RISE, which is a school as a day program for students with autism. We've been having some of our students, because we had so many students with severe autism come, that we couldn't house them all. There wasn't enough room. So they have been going to RISE, which has been a pilot out in Humboldt, and they are now partnering with us, and they will now be at Heritage Middle School. And so some of our kids are going to be going over there to them. And then also for the Tri-City area, other kids who have autism will be going over there as well. And then co-teaching, which I've already explained, that's something I feel like is really going to help us. And then ASDB, we're also partnering with ASDB. We're going to be a centralized hub. We have the most students with interpreter needs for interpreting for our deaf students. In our district, we have more than anyone in the Tri-City area. So we are going to have them housed here. And if any students need interpreting from this area, we're going to be doing memorandums of understanding with those districts to have those students come here. If they're just getting some vision services or something where they don't need a full-time interpreter, at this time, they can still stay in their districts. All right, so looking forward to next year, we're going to be starting something different. One of the things that we have learned is when something isn't working, you need to figure out a way to make it work. And so we have a lot of new educators coming in to teaching that haven't gone through the traditional teaching preparation programs. And they come to us and they don't have a lot of experience, and they don't have the behavior management. They don't know how to write an IEP. They're just really green. And so we really want to help those teachers and any new teachers that are coming from somewhere else into our district so that they can learn our philosophy, how we do things, and just to provide support and teamwork within each other. So we're going to be doing a SPED training like we always do at the beginning of the year, but then we're going to do Friday monthly trainings for the special ed teachers to come to so that we can teach them how to do all types of things, how to do increased behavior management, how to work with kids who are on the spectrum, those types of things, so that and how to write IEPs. We just think it's going to really provide support and build some teamwork amongst them. We also are going this summer to do our EDP and CPI training. We use Foundations for Life for children with emotional disabilities. And then we're also going to have an increase in speech therapist employees. So we're looking forward to that for this coming year. Okay. So some highlights for overall, special needs rodeo is always a hit. We have a variety of programs to meet our students' needs on an individualized basis. We have structured programs. When you go into any program, the teacher can tell you, this is what we do in here. Every program has a purpose and a structure. And I feel from the feedback that I get, and I know I've heard it from, other people, we do have an excellent reputation in the community, which makes me super happy because that means we're taking care of our babies well as far as what's out there in the community. So that's the most important thing, is taking care of them. Okay. And that's it. Do you have any questions for me?
I think you're doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
I think your numbers, that's pretty impressive. I feel like when you were showing how much they've grown, that's pretty great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Very good, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Marcia has
Just
a-
Oh, yes, Marcia.
Okay, so 500 kids in the whole school district that has IEPs, am I right?
We're just under that. Yep,
Just
we
that's
should
from
probably,
Territorial all the way through the high school.
yes, ma'am.
I don't know how you do that. I really don't.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot.
I mean, to be able to meet all the needs of each child individually, I mean, that's a handful.
It is, but it's good teamwork.
Yes.
It come, from the paraprofessionals to the teachers, the admin, everyone working together. That's the only way we can do it.
Oh, bless you.
Oh, thank you. Takes a village for sure.
All right, our next presentation this evening is going to be on English learning. Miss Rosa Maria.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Would you like the podium?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you, though. Probably taller than me. So, two things that I provided you today. One is the trifold is just an update of our SEI program. And just to clarify, because of the alphabet soup that is our education, SEI is structured English immersion. And so the state says you have to choose one. And so the one that we use in our district is the 2-hour pull-out model. But that is a bit of a misnomer because 2 hours is based on a 5-day week. So you'll notice on that pamphlet, I broke it down by weekly minutes instead of the 2-hour because we're a 4-day week, not a 5-day week. So it's basically K5, 300 minutes of targeted instruction a week, a day would have been the 2 hours, right? So, and then we have the integrated portion. So integrated is just every classroom. So targeted being the EL teachers, what they do, and then the integrated being what everybody else does. Okay, so that trifold is just updated. I changed a little bit of the verbiage to more closely align with what ADE's verbiage is, and put in our new logo. So updated, and so I do have it in English and in Spanish, so that we can provide to any community members who are interested in learning more about our program. So that's what that is. The other one that I provided for you is an update on testing. So as we know, we just finished up in March, just before spring break, we finished this year's AZELA, which is Arizona's English Language Learner Assessment. And it's how we measure how well our students are doing. What I provided for you is reclassification, and I gave you 3 years worth of data. Compared to last year, I did not give you the breakdown of growth, simply because ADE is in a transition. with Azella. And so the scores don't match what they were last year. In other words, the finish line changed. So I wouldn't be comparing apples to apples. So reclassification is a little bit, more solid. But if you take a look here, I broke it down by school, and then by district, and then by the state, so that we get an idea of what the entire state is doing and how we compare. Of course, the test results just came out 2 weeks ago. Arizona data have not released the state data yet, so I don't have a percentage for you there. But you can see that overall we've done at least as well and mostly much better than the state average as a district. That being said, as we look at the school level, we've got lots of things to celebrate. Tech, once again, did a fabulous job reclassifying 10 of our EL students. And by reclassify, again, just to remind you, it just means that they have passed the test, the English test, with sufficient enough score to be deemed proficient in English. So that sets them up for success in the regular classroom. Okay. And Del Rio, again, pretty solid at 35%. HMS, we've got some work to do. High school, 26%, giving this year our district a 26% reclassification rate. Probably, if we look at the trend data for the state, we're probably going to easily be twice the state again. My guess, just based on what we've seen, is it's probably going to be between 12 and 14% for the state. So I want to note at the bottom, I gave you some backup, but remember that the deck was reshuffled in 2021, meaning that they're the same standards, but they were redone, the same reading, writing, listening, speaking, they were redone, which always causes things to dip a little bit. But the biggest thing is that year they reduced our EL load from 4 hours of instruction in EL to 2. And you see the effect of that was immediately scores, of course, reclassification rates went down by a lot. And they've been slowly creeping back up, but nowhere near the rates that they were prior to that. So, one thing that I would like to share with you, as of today, the ADE has accepted Cambium's bid for our new testing. So Pearson will no longer be providing Azella for us. It will now be Cambium. Don't have a rollout schedule for that. June 2nd, I will have more information as far as what that's going to look like for the state. But so Pearson is out, and of course we know that that's going to affect our scores, as it always does. Anytime you change the measure, things happen to scores. So we'll see what my talk next year looks like. For now, I don't have a whole lot. Last thing I'd like to close with is just on a positive note, having gone through this year a lot of things with EL, including our in-person audit through Arizona Department of Education. What we already knew was confirmed in that our teachers could use some more support on learning the strategies to use in the classroom. What do you do with a kiddo who's just brand new to our country and doesn't speak any English? And when they're at tech, everyone's learning their ABCs. But what happens when they're at the middle school and they have to sit in a math class, or they're at the high school and they have to sit in an Algebra 2 class and they don't know any English? So the challenges are many, right? The challenges are many. To that end, this summer, we are going to be offering an SEI class. Remember, SEI is Structured English Immersion, to our teachers. And so far, we have 14 teachers signed up to take this class. And so I will be teaching it at the end of June. And they will be leaving there with a myriad of strategies and techniques for using in the classroom starting day one. It's a hands-on kind of nuts and bolts kind of a thing. Let's see, what can we do tomorrow that will help? And like Nicole said, not just EL students, right? It's just good teaching. So what questions do you have for me?
I don't.
Ladies?
Great, thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, item 6B is our superintendent's report. Ms. Daniels.
Good evening. Dr. Moody sends his regrets. He's coaching his grandson's t-ball team tonight because the coach is out of town. So this is the month that we celebrate everything under the sun. We kicked it off with our Million Word Challenge banquet last Monday night. Marcia was able to be there. I think you would agree it was a really fun event.
Yes.
We had about 300 people in the room celebrating kids and their reading accomplishments. So there was a lot of hooping and hollering and excitement, and the kids feel like they're so excited to run up and high five the foundation board. Something super notable this year, Cheyenne leads the Million Word Challenge event for the district, and she has coordinators at each school. It's fantastic. It's literally the only thing we do in the district where we celebrate tech through the high school all in the same room for the same concept. We had 2 second grade students this year who each read more than 2 million words.
Second graders, that was awesome.
Second graders, yeah.
Yeah.
They like had to stand on the chair so we could see them in a crowded room. We've wrapped up state testing, which is good. Our EL results are already in, you heard that, and the reclassification rates. Our state test results roll in sometime in June. Rosa Maria made a great point. Every time the state changes vendors, the test scores go all over the place because you're not comparing the same thing anymore.
Why do they do that?
I do. Competitive bidding. And then, as you're aware, Cheetah Valley Education Foundation received a grant to support our non-English speaking parents in acquiring English skills. And the classes for parents to learn how to speak, read, and write English are held at Territorial on Wednesday nights. They have their last class this week. We had 27 classes this year. We had 3 instructors. The foundation paid for childcare workers and the curriculum. The 14 parents were super high achieving. They want to resume again next fall. The ladies who have been teaching the class want to teach it, and my chair's sinking on its own. So I was so tall before I could reach the floor. Now it's sinking down. It's probably why you switched it off on me, lady. But they are so excited to do this stuff. They're going to be branching out and offering, I'm not sure if they'll be doing it through us, but parents have requested citizenship classes and things like that too, to learn more about it. So it's just pretty cool. We have some statistical data for you that Leanne Wellert provided. At Territorial, we currently have 547 students. At Del Rio, 476, HMS 468, and CVHS 595. That was as of last Monday. And then one thing I wanted to show you was our average daily attendance rate. You know, this has been a huge problem all around the state, with most districts not even getting to 70%. Every one of our schools is at 93. I don't know how much more I can sing. 90. I'm just going, thanks. Everybody's at 93% or above, which is super cool. I did include for you this in your packet, and I wanted to explain a couple things about it. This
in our package.
it's on your
computer.
it is on your computer on page
Page
it's the one that's color, so should be
7.
okay, 7. So the one thing I wanted to, now the chair's falling apart. When it falls apart, I'm on the ground, the meeting's over. When the data in the colored bars is enrollment data from last year, because that's the most current. We'll have like this year's data sometime in the fall, but the trend is still indicative. Yes, and then the stuff right below it, the homeschooled and the ESA recipient students, that is actually accurate right up to like the homeschool these are students who are registered with the county school office. That was as of 5/4. And the ESA students, that was as of Christmas break. So that is really current data. And one thing I want to share with you, that registered homeschool number is pretty consistent with where it was a year ago. It was a little over 280 last year. So homeschool numbers have actually gone down, but that ESA number is up 200 students from last year. And so we have really no good way of knowing how many students are going to private schools or whatever, but this gives you like students going outside of the district to another publicly funded school. Those are all the colored bars. That's fairly consistent year over year. But that the ESA number alone almost accounts for the bump from the data we presented last year to this year. So I think it's important to share that. The ESA data is available on the Arizona Department of Education website. The registered homeschool numbers I have obtained from the county school office. And these are for the numbers for students that live in our 2 zip codes that are part of the school district for Chino Valley and Paulden.
What is our current ADM?
Our current ADM is sitting slightly over 2,000 because remember, students with special needs have a higher weighted value, but our actual enrollment is sitting just under 2,000, it's like 19 and change. So gives you an idea where we're sitting. We'll visit more about this on our May 28th Strategic Planning Day. Then I've also included for you, we're required to annually run a survey. Survey results are on the paper. They're very typical results. When people's kids are in like a lower elementary grade, they always rate their school high. The older their kids get, they rate the school lower. So it's kind of what you would expect. But 95% of parents at Tech ranked it good or excellent. That's roughly where it fell last year. 75% at Del Rio, good or excellent. HMS 63 and CVHS 62. So, and then I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that you saw the numbers of enrolled students at each campus, and we only had about 140, 150 people respond. So pretty, and that's also pretty typical. So one of the things I wanted to share with you, which is odd, and I really can't account for it in any way. Our school district, but it's like a problem statewide. It's come up in lots of other like meetings and stuff or newsletters. Also, I know for towns, counties, since the 2024 election, there has been a significant surge in public records requests. And they're coming from, loosely refer to them as agencies of all that I keep, like I filter them all into an email folder so I can see how many we're getting. Last week we had 5. That's a lot, and it creates a lot of work for the business office to produce those records because we have to correspond and find out, are they a for-profit or a nonprofit, because we have in policy fee structures for that. Then we have to send a check. The check has to clear. We have to respond. And they're almost like, except for there's one local resident who requests a copy, printed copy of our annual financial report every year and the budget. The person owns a shipping copy, so we just send the PDF and let them make their own copies. But John graciously provides the copies every year. And my point in that is we have one person, and the stuff John sends is already available on our website. It's like 3 clicks away, but we have one. Every other request is coming from out of state.
Wow.
And why? No reason.
Like
No.
any state in specifically or just all over?
All over. A lot of East Coast, a lot of Mid-Atlantic requests. But our last round were like Montana, Idaho, wherever these companies are, like have their licensure to do business. And the requests sometimes are like, send us a copy of every PO that you issued between, like a list that you issued between 2022, January 1 and, April 30th, 2026. That's a lot of work to compile that. So we started keeping some things made up, like created after people started requesting. And then it could be like send us a contract here are 5 company names. Send us a copy of the contract, the purchase order, and payment that you made to these companies. Sometimes, never heard of them. Like, we don't know those companies. So these are like shots in the dark for stuff, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. And there's no, there's never a reason given. Just we have a right to request it, so we're requesting it. But we had literally one a year from our gal that lives in Chino for all of the years that I worked in this district for 16 years. We had one request a year for public records. Randomly, we might have something about a contract, or like if we had local people bid on jobs and they wanted to see who it was awarded to or why. We had a couple of those. But we have been slammed with public records requests since the 2024 election. And it's not just us. There are people asking, like, what is a reasonable amount? Like Mason Unified gets hundreds a week. And like now you're devoting positions to it. And we have like one person in our district who compiles everything. So I wanted to bring it to your attention just because we know it's not just schools that are being targeted this way, but all public entities, and it is creating an immense burden for no discernible reason. Like, it's very confusing, but we have to comply, so we do. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And then we have Cheyenne's put together a list of activities for you. I put some here on the paper for you, just a reminder about graduation next week on Wednesday at the event center. And I always recommend parking on that east side of the building and coming in by the loading dock. That's the easiest way to get in and out. So anywho, what else can I tell you?
How many students do we have graduating?
Well, we'll have the final stats next Monday
Okay.
because we have 4 who are trying really, really hard to, over the hump. So it'll either be 154 or 158.
It will be 158 if I have anything to do with it.
And I
had to call
confidence
some
in
students in and have the mama talk with them.
would also say that
I
Mr.
can
Billy,
see you sitting on top of the students.
And Mr. Richardson is keeping their attendance.
so Mr. Billy is the attendance like king of the world. And so yes, and he is at Friday school every Friday for all the kids who are in attendance trouble.
That's right.
Thank you.
This is the last Friday.
One more to go.
Some are staying after school for an hour every day. So we have some that are doing multiple things, but Billy's very good at it.
Mr. Billy is good. They hate his guts right now, but he's really good.
They really hate when they come in late and I'm like, we're staying for the full 4 hours. So you came in 30 minutes late, we're staying at 12:30.
And Mrs. Billy probably doesn't like it either.
No comment.
Yeah.
All right, any additional questions for Ms. Daniels? All right, thank you. Item 6C1 is financial report ending April 30th. Mr. Livingston.
Great, Madam President, members of the board, Superintendent Daniels, staff and administration, board guests, thanks for being here. A quick look at our April 30th financial position, a quick look at accounts, a quick look at cash balances. Our budget before this meeting was 19.3 million. Our budget after this meeting, when we do a revision, is a little higher, 60,000 higher in our operating fund and capital fund combined. So there was a little extra boost there, 67,000 that we split between 2 funds. We have a quick look at these. If you look at the expense as a percentage of the budget, the 16.4 million in our operating fund as a percent of the budget is 85% spent at the end of April. The percent of days were 83.2, so we don't like that. We like to always have the 8% of days ahead, so we're always lagging. but we had 3 payrolls in April. We do that 2 times a year, so we better be loaded for those payrolls, because that's the way we do it. We do 26 pay every 2 weeks. We do it. That's the main reason. We see that in our capital budget of $778,000, that's going up. Hopefully you can approve that tonight to $804,000. Spent $576,000. We still have some encumbrances of $120,000 in capital. That's primarily curriculum. Back in the day, I think it ended in 2014, there was another fund, not just 610 and M&O. Points to anyone that remembers that fund. It was eliminated in 2014. It was 625. It was soft capital.
I almost had it.
It's right there. And the focus of that was academic adequacy. So if you wanted to improve your district office with either equipment or perhaps some construction, you couldn't use 625 until you satisfied all the academic needs. So textbooks were commonly put in 625. Then they said, well, that's way too difficult. We can't manage the differences that some districts use between 610 capital and 625 soft capital, so they eliminated it. So that might have been a good thing to do, but it was kind of nice to keep people's hands off 625 until all the textbooks and all the classroom supplies were purchased. So that fund is gone. So the 120,000 still left encumbered in 610 fund for capital is primarily textbooks. And I imagine they'll be here in the next.
They've been rolling in.
Yeah, it's been steady.
Yep, we had pallets dropped at HMS today.
It's been steady. So if you take a look at the budget in capital, if it ends at 804,000, we add the other 120,000 of expense to the 576, we're going to have maybe 50, maybe 60,000 left in capital. A few years ago, we spent 2.1 in capital on a budget of 2.4. So capital is really if we come down and take a look at our 691 fund, that's in your cash reports, 5.4 million spent in fund 691. That is going to increase between now and the rest of the year. I guess Dr. Moody is not in attendance, but we are more than halfway done his building on the south end of Del Rio, building 1001. I'm not sure, there's 20 units going in there. I'm not sure if we've got them all installed. I know they're going in sections. Last I heard, they had 11 installed. Split that into 3 sections. So that project is really well. And if you have an interest in what we've been doing with another item, I'll call your attention to it. If you can look at the very back of our financial report, you should be able to see that, and it's got cash balances. If you go down there. You can see some interesting things, and this is a result of what I've been able to do with the staff in our office since about April 4th. So if you can see that page, it's got 3-page summary, and at the very bottom of page 3, it's got 4.8 million. That's our cash balances by fund. Okay, so if you go up to the third from the top, you see Fund 570, 683,000. If you go back to your March report, that was 141,000. That's a really powerful fund, 570. You can use it for salaries and benefits. There's 9 things in schools we spend money on: salaries, benefits, purchase services, supplies, capital, all these things. 570 covers them all. It's quite unusual. So if we have costs for administering grants, we can move some of our costs in our office over to Fund 570. If we have, this is an indirect cost fund. If you take a look then at Fund 510 on page 2, you see we started the year on that page with $929,000. And we ended the month of April with $600,000. If you look at 510, we moved $540,000 of cash out of that fund. And that's where the cash went up in 570, so we can use it for all these expenses, and it went down in 510. And you say, well, why would you move those expenses or move that cash out of 510? We jumped to a new food service program about 3 years ago. I think we're entering year 4 of 5 on that. And we weren't sure how the revenues were going to compare to the expense. If you have an expense every month of 130,000 and revenues of 110,000, you better watch out, because your cash balance is dwindling. If you have expenses of 130 and revenues of 150, now you've got another situation. You don't really know how that's going to work out until a few years go by. So 3 years have gone by, and we rewrote all those financial reports. We're going to see that in a minute. but that's the effect it had on cash. The 570 went up, 540,000 to 510 cash went down. And that's, we can explain it when we get to that item, but I just wanted to show you. Any questions on the month-end report for April 30th?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think you're next, so we'll just make sure.
Roll on.
All right, our student funds, student activity funds.
Student activity funds. I have some good news. I think it's really good news. I worked with this person for a couple of years. She used to be the high school student council liaison. So what was Miss D'Angelo's title?
Advisor.
Advisor. I looked at her start date. She started July of 2011. And I think was here 13 years to 23. So I could start this item by giving some kudos to the high school, the new student council advisor and the new principal that really got some stuff done. We have an employee in our office whose son went on the student council trip to Disneyland and had a blast. And there was a time there with the new person that this was a challenge trying to get all this done. So my hat's off to the new advisor there at the high school. And so for 15 years, from 11 to 26, 15 years, we've had 3 advisors. It just so happens that in the last 2 years, we've had 2. So the first one made it just about 14 years. So that's a really big job to take on. And again, hats off to the high school for getting that done and to the advisor and to the administration for making that happen. And you can see the cash balances and expenditures. To me, that was a real success. Any questions on anything else in the council or student activity funds?
Nope, I think we're good. Thank you very much. All right, item 7A is tonight's consent agenda. I would entertain a motion for tonight's consent agenda, items A through K.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
And I shall, I'm sorry to interrupt it, I shall second it.
Fantastic. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, leave it to the next page. Item 8 is our personnel report. Item 8A is the actual personnel report.
Madam Chair, board members, Ms. Daniels, we have our May personnel report. We have 2 nurse certified employees, 1 new classified employee, 3 new classified subs, 7 resignations, 1 termination, 2 employees who did not return their contracts, 1 certified change, 42 classified changes, 2 extra duty, and 1 time sheet.
The ones that don't return their
That's
contracts,
my
do you
question.
reach out to them and see? Oh, okay,
They just didn't, they chose not to they chose not to renew their contract and they chose not to send a letter of resignation. They just said they're not returning verbally after we checked on them.
Okay. And obviously we'll replace those teachers.
Yes.
At some point.
Fact is, I think we're almost, next month you'll see their replacements.
Got it.
Right now, we don't have any job open.
We're in the process of finishing up and getting letters of intent to hire out and
Anyone have any questions on tonight's personnel report?
Nope, I will gladly make a motion for the approval of tonight's personnel report.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 8B is our summer school pay increase.
so every summer we have summer school at the high school to help our students make sure they're on track to graduate. And then as part of looking at our salary and doing some analysis, we requested an increase of the hourly rate for our summer school teachers of $50 an hour. This adjustment is very necessary because we need to ensure that we have the best teachers and in our summer school program. And currently we're facing recruiting competition from Yavapai College and Embry-Riddle, and that's what they pay. And so by aligning our rates with the local market, we can better retain our staff that we want to be teaching summer school with.
And we have the budget capacity to
Yes.
handle this increase.
Yes.
And do we have people that we are wanting?
Yes, we did not before, and we bumped the pay $5 an hour, and now, Mr. Billy?
Yeah, fully manned.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good
Yeah.
news.
All right. Any other questions, comments?
No.
This is an action item.
I'll
Again,
make-
I'll entertain.
I'll make a motion to approve the increase of the summer school hourly rate to $50 for certified teachers effective summer 2026.
All in favor? Oh, wait, a second, please.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item 8C, part-time Ames preschool teacher.
So for next school year, we've been working very close with our sped department and with Mrs. Cox. And we really feel that we need a part-time Ames preschool teacher with the number of students that are coming into our district that have special needs. It's essential to ensure the safety of both our students and our staff. And this would be a part-time position. We have somebody already that is going through their becoming a teacher, and they will teach half the day, and then they will be a para, because they're right now a full-time para. So we have somebody already lined up who we feel will do a great job, but we need that half-time position, or else it's we just don't know the influx of kids coming in, and the need is there.
And again, we have the budget capacity.
Yes.
Absolutely. Any questions, comments on it?
I'll make a motion to approve the part-time Ames preschool teacher 26,
I'll second that.
school year.
Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
very much.
Item 10A, our expenditure revision. Mr. Livingston.
Yes, Madam Chairman, members of the board, we have a couple items. I referred to them real briefly in the April report. If you could go to that item and open the expenditure budget itself. And when we put these in here, it looked to me like most of them were standing up portrait style. Now some of them have flopped over. If you'll go to page 4 and expand it so you can read those numbers, I'd just like to draw your attention to 3 numbers there on page 4. And I do have hard copies here in case you have a flip issue with your Adobe Writer and Reader there.
No comment.
We'll all just be leaning.
Lots of fun. So I'll just summarize it. On line 3, up top there, you see a column. And the first column has a number 1.2 million, 1,227,000. That's how much money based on last year's attendance, the 24-25 attendance. That 1.2 million is how much we brought in. Can you see that then? I can give it to you. So it's page 7 on our budget. And they
Oh,
use,
7, I was on 4. I'm
oh,
sorry.
excuse me.
Oh, that's 4.
Yeah, 4. It is 4. We want 4.
Oh, we're all on 4. Or do we want?
You give their way up, John. It's your 4. That's right, because I gave you.
Oh, I see.
I didn't-
Yeah.
Yeah.
1.2 is that what?
Yeah, 1,227,000.
Yep.
So that's how much money that last year's count generated for this year's capital funds. As we know what our costs are, because we know we're top heavy and top heavy in expense, top heavy in staff, and low in student counts, we know we had to supplement that fund. So you can see in the M&O column A there, at 850,000, it was nice to put it in capital for 2 seconds, but we needed it more seriously in M&O fund. So that 850,000 is in the M&O column. And that's what we're trying to get away from. We're trying to reduce the number of extra costs. We can increase students, so we have to reduce costs. We have to be really careful with our cash. So that 850,000 went from the capital budget into the M&O budget. Then go down a little ways to line 8B, and you see that budget balance carry forward from the M&O fund from the end of the 24-25 year, 982,000. That's nice to have. A budget of 19 million with $1 million coming forward, that 982,761 from the prior year as being unspent. If we didn't have both of those numbers, that 982 and the 850 together, like 1.7 million, our M&O budget, if you go all the way down, wouldn't be 19,000,003 like it is right now, 19,391, 135. It would be 17,000,005. And we know we're going to spend. We just got through the legal expenses 60.8. So those two things really have helped. But we can't keep counting on money left out of capital to move over. We can't keep counting on having 982,000 every year unspent. So a lot of work has gone into this to ensure that those numbers match exactly what we have to work with for year end. Any questions on that budget?
But it is an action item and we will need to approve.
Okay, I will get there, back to where we actually was. Here we go. Okay, I will make the motion
On page 115.
to approve the 2026 expenditure budget as presented.
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item 10B is also you.
Great. Okay, so the 10B, if I guess the best word is hearken. If you can hearken back to what we talked about with cash, you're going to see some information on that cash that we looked at. And this is going back. If you want to click on that, I've got the documents right here for you to sign. But if you click on that action item, approving 3 annual financial reports.
Yes.
That's how cautious we are when we change an expenditure, I guess it's a contractual issue with our food service. We need to have a few years of data behind us before we do anything with that cash in that fund. It's common, very common. I could name you 6 school districts right now. Let's say their expenditures for the food service are $1 million. It's very common for the revenues to be 800, maybe 850. So every year they have to move expenditures out of 510 over to the operating fund. It's very common. We've been really fortunate to have an outstanding group of people here with Sodexo. And my understanding is the only person that really is the Sodexo employee only and is new when they bring in new people is the director. All the other folks.
Who's here? Do you want to have Amy wait so they know who
Amy?
it is?
Hello, Amy. So when you come as our new director, do you bring personnel with you? Or do you pretty much keep the folks that have been with your company locally employed, locally like raised, and they've been here before? You don't really bring a group of new Sodexo directors or employees with you, is that correct?
With a new contract,
Well, just in your position.
it would be just the administrators, yeah.
So you could have, I guess you could have, that would have taken places, what are there altogether, 20, almost 20 Sodexo employees?
That's right.
They could have done that. They could have said, we're bringing all of our new staff here. But I'm really, really grateful that you're able to keep local staff in place as if we were operating it ourselves. But I'd like to go on record as saying with your expertise, with your menus, with your advertising, with your promotion, with your food quality, we would really struggle to meet the standard that Sodexo has set, especially with being able to keep these menus. If you would have seen what they did at Del Rio with the dietitian for 4 days, March 2nd to 6th of this year, to prove they met calories, carbohydrates, protein, all these standards, I just don't know if a typical person without that background could have done that. And if we would have had to bring in our own dietitian, that would have been a pretty penny. So thank you. And so we're in a position now, we've seen how well these cash year ends have been. So these 3 annual financial reports, if you take a look at them in the 23 year, it's quite a procedure. We had to call the Department of Education, we had to call the grants department, we had to get a help desk ticket. They say, oh, you want to do what with your 2023 data? You want to revise it? Well, that's in an archive. Sorry, Joe, he left a year or 2 ago. We don't have a key to the archives anymore. Sorry. So they have to approve us going in there. We have to sit here for about 5 hours and go through all of our journal entries on the annual financial report, but we can't touch them in our live financial data. But we have to make sure our live financial data reflects the changes we made in the 3-year-old report. So I've got a bunch of amazing employees in our department and our office, and I work with 2 different ones to do these 3 reports. The 23 year has been redone, the 24 year has been redone, the 25 year has been redone. We were able to move those indirect costs out of 510 fund, reducing the cash, put it over to 570. Each one took about 5 hours of data analysis. So in the end, we moved 170,000 in 23, 140,000 in 24, 230,000 in 25 year, which brought cash down from 1.1 million at the end of March down to 600,000 at the end of April in the 510 fund and boosted it 570.
Way more flexibility now with how we can spend it. So John and his staff did a phenomenal job going back through all that and putting in the time for it. I cannot say enough good things about what our business office staff did to accomplish this. It's really amazing.
Thank you. So then here's what I have. I've got these documents for you to sign, just as if it was October and we were signing the 26th annual financial report. Everything's the same. The annual financial report records in the database that we use right now for finances, they've all been updated, as you can see, in the increase in cash in our current year. But we can't do those live in our financial software, because once you close a year, June 30th, there's no more entries. You just have to keep up. So the interesting thing I like to point out, if you have this open, you can go to the 23 year and you can see M&O expenses right here in the lower corner of 16.9 million in the 23 year, 16.9. Nice number to hang on to. 24 year, 18.8 million in M&O. 25 year, 18.9 million. And this year, we anticipate we're able to hold the line right around that 18.9 million, or maybe even less than our budget of 19.3. And I just appreciate Superintendent Daniels, who knew basically about just about everything. If you saw our journal entry book, moving costs here and there at the end, we had 2 last year. The little one was 3 inches thick. The thick one was over 5 inches thick, full of documents that we were able to show our auditors that we were able to move these costs from these funds out of our operating fund elsewhere. And it's just really, really interesting. Everything I bring the Superintendent Daniels to approve, she already knows what I'm going to say. Because she's already figured out that we can do that. So
Because she lives here, literally.
Well, it's just nice to have the support. So when there's a challenge like this and we have a cash crunch for the last 3 years, we kind of know how to maneuver to keep from getting completely run over. So.
Well, good job, John. We appreciate you.
Any additional questions?
No, I just don't know how you do it. I really don't.
We've got a great team. So.
I know.
Action item, John.
It is an
Yes,
action
you're
item.
approved.
I will make the motion to approve FY 2022-23, FY 23-24, FY 24-25 AFR revisions.
I'll second. Sorry. One of them. All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, our last item of the evening is the first reading of trust policy number 4-302.01.
So I'd like to explain the reason why we asked the trust to create this policy. We've had a situation 3 times this year, which is sort of a variation on a theme each time. I think it's only going to continue to happen. And so this policy really is sort of, even though it's reactionary to what has happened, it's preemptive to what we believe is going to continue to happen. We hire people who come to us for our insurance, and they are not FMLA eligible because they haven't worked for a year. You have to work for an employer for a year to be eligible for FMLA. They have almost no accrued leave because they're new. They get spotted some leave up front. They have already planned a surgery or you name it, and they're gone for many, many, many weeks. And even though they have a work agreement and are expected to return to work, they don't. And we needed a policy that clarified, if you do that, you have to repay us your insurance premiums for all the months you were off. And so it's not like we're gaining back boatloads of money, but it's a way for us. And we already have them sign paperwork that says they know they have to do it, blah, blah, blah. In the most recent case, we had our attorney draft a letter, including the evidence that had been signed that this payment was required. And my instinct tells me this is going to happen more and more, as it's expensive for people to buy health insurance. They don't necessarily want to work for an employer that has roughly 12% of their income with health or state retirement, but they do want access to insurance, and then they stiff us. And so this is a way for us to begin to thwart some of that by showing that we have a policy in place, and it adds a little bit more meat to what we need to do. So this is a first reading. It was drafted, this was drafted by our attorney, who we receive our legal services through the trust, who also provides, we have prepaid legal through the trust from our attorney, And we also have, these are trust policies, so the attorney who just specifically does policies also reviewed it. And our liaison for policy with the trust has reviewed it and presented this to you this evening for a first read.
Will there be any extenuating circumstances, emergencies?
Like an emergency or something like that?
People are expected to come back to work when the emergency's over.
That's true.
They still have a work agreement.
And if they are unable to come, I mean, they're in a catastrophic car accident, I'm just throwing it out there.
They'll have to resign and still repay the insurance.
One, I think it's sad that we even have to do this, but it
Same.
just seems to be the way that the world works anymore. Okay.
And the reason is we can't gift public funds. So if someone was out of leave, they have no leave. We're holding their job for them as if they had FMLA.
Yeah.
They're not receiving pay from us, but if they don't return to work, then technically they really weren't working for us during that period, and we can't gift them insurance.
First reading, any other questions?
I have one question. How collectible are they? So you get a lien, a judgment on this?
Well, the letter from the attorney was magical. A check was here the next day
On what?
on the one we needed to collect from.
Good.
So far, we're 1 for 1.
100%.
And that's where we want to be, because it's also good for our employees to completely understand what the rules are when you come to work for someone. So it's where we are. And you're right, it's sad that we have to do it.
Also protect protect their job, protect the district, I mean, everything. I mean, but I was concerned if somebody was in a, like, somebody was saying about a bad car accident, or if they were killed in an accident or
Well,
something.
they wouldn't be coming back to work then.
But if they have something that happens that would fall under the Americans with Disabilities Act and would prevent them from returning to work, that would be a different scenario under ADA. So if it's an ADA protected thing,
Yes.
that's different. This is for non-ADA protected things.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that.
All right, with that, I bid you all a good night. I really bid you a good night.
See what
I did, there, I will send letter of intent in the morning.
Oh, okay. I'll get it to you.
Then they'll be on the agenda for work.